The Second World War left scars on the world, and the United States emerged with a colossal debt burden. Over 120% of its GDP. The situation was critical. Yet the U.S. prevented an economic crisis. In this video, you'll learn about the 3 things that saved the USA. These are valuable lessons for today's economic challenges, given the similar debt burden the U.S. currently faces.
The years following World War II witnessed an unprecedented economic boom in the United States. Fueled by pent-up demand, technological advancements, and government investments, the economy surged forward at an astonishing pace. This rapid growth was crucial in tackling the nation's massive debt. As the economy expanded, so did the government's tax revenue. More people working meant more income tax, and thriving businesses translated to higher corporate tax receipts. This surge in revenue provided the government with the financial muscle to chip away at the national debt. But growth alone wasn't enough. The U.S. strategically employed a degree of inflation to manage its debt burden. Controlled inflation, while a double-edged sword, helped erode the value of the debt over time, making it easier to repay. This period of growth wasn't just about numbers, it was about transformation. The U.S. invested heavily in infrastructure, education, and research, laying the foundation for long-term economic prosperity. This commitment to building a stronger, more competitive economy was key to its success.
Taming the inflation dragon was a balancing act. Inflation, often dubbed the silent thief, can erode purchasing power and destabilize economies. However, in the post-war years, the U.S. managed to harness inflation to its advantage, using it as a tool to manage its debt. The idea was simple: allow for a moderate level of inflation, which would gradually decrease the real value of the debt. This approach required a delicate balancing act. Too much inflation could lead to economic instability, while too little would do little to alleviate the debt burden. The U.S. government, through its monetary and fiscal policies, carefully controlled inflation. They implemented measures to curb excessive price increases while ensuring that inflation remained at a level that supported economic growth and debt reduction. This strategic use of inflation, coupled with robust economic growth, allowed the U.S. to gradually reduce its debt-to-GDP ratio. It's a testament to the power of sound economic management, even in the face of seemingly insurmountable challenges.
Contrary to popular belief, the U.S. didn't resort to draconian austerity measures to overcome its post-war debt. Instead, it chose a path of fiscal prudence, balancing responsible spending cuts with strategic investments in key areas. The government recognized that crippling austerity could stifle economic growth, exacerbating the debt problem. So while they did rein in unnecessary spending, they also prioritized investments in education, infrastructure, and research and development. These investments weren't just about stimulating immediate economic activity, they were about laying the groundwork for future prosperity. By equipping its citizens with the skills and infrastructure they needed to thrive, the U.S. was making a long-term bet on its economic future. This approach, a far cry from the slash-and-burn austerity measures often prescribed today, proved remarkably successful. It allowed the U.S. to manage its debt while simultaneously investing in the engines of long-term economic growth.
Fast forward to the present day, and we find ourselves facing eerily familiar economic challenges. Global debt levels are soaring, fueled by factors like the COVID-19 pandemic and geopolitical instability. The question arises, can the lessons from the post-World War II era offer guidance in navigating our current predicament? The answer, while not simple, is a cautious yes. The post-war experience underscores the importance of sustainable economic growth, controlled inflation, and fiscal responsibility. These principles remain as relevant today as they were decades ago. However, the world has changed significantly since the 1940s. Globalization, technological advancements, and demographic shifts have created a more complex economic landscape. Therefore, simply replicating the strategies of the past won't suffice. We need to adapt those lessons to our current context, developing innovative solutions tailored to the specific challenges of the 21st century. This requires a nuanced understanding of global economic forces, a willingness to challenge conventional wisdom, and a commitment to long-term thinking by investing in the pillars of sustainable economic growth.
The task before us is daunting, but not insurmountable. By drawing inspiration from the past, embracing innovation, and prioritizing long-term thinking, we can chart a course toward a more fiscally sustainable future. This requires a multifaceted approach. First, fostering sustainable economic growth should be paramount. By learning from the past and employing sound economic policy, embracing innovation, and aided by a healthy dose of inflation, the United States of America can once again stave off a looming debt crisis.